Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we're going to be going through the polls from Thursday, October 18th and Friday, October 19th, because I haven't really covered them. Yesterday I did a Senate election prediction and then governor election prediction. So today we're going to be going through the data that I just skipped over for the time being, because I did not upload on that Friday, but then I did upload on Saturday. So today we're going to be recovering the data from Thursday and Friday, and then in a separate video Saturday and Sunday. So overall, looking at the state, not the state of, I guess Thursday's a state now, but the day of Thursday, we have a lot of data that seems like, just based off face value, benefits the Democrats. We see a poll out of Tennessee that shows the Democrats ahead by 1. Go to the state of New Jersey, which previously was a toss-up, now showing the Democrat leading by 9%. Double-digit leads in California and New York, and then in the state of Tennessee. Good news for the Republicans in terms of the governor race, but then we go over to some House races, and they do show good news for the Democratic Party. Right now, looking at this data, pretty interesting information, to say the least. Right now, we look at the state of Tennessee, and it may seem like this is good news for the Democratic Party. Bredesen leads by 1%, has 44% of the vote, but keep in mind, 44% of the vote is not a lot. We are leading into the election season. This is not months away. This is less than a month away, around half a month away, if we're being a little bit more precise. Because looking at the numbers now, this does not show an accurate reflection of what the entire state of Tennessee is feeling, or maybe every other poll is wrong except for this one from Vanderbilt University. But if you look at all the polls where Blackburn is leading, there's a lot less undecided voters. Okay, we look at the one from New York Times. Blackburn has 54%, Bredesen has 40%. That seems like a large gap, and yes, it is. It's a double-digit lead for the GOP candidate there, but that means there's only 6% of undecided voters. You go over in this new poll from Vanderbilt University, and they have a total of 13% undecided voters. That is a huge amount. That is enough to completely throw off the entire poll. We go over to the Cbs News Poll. There are 8% undecided voters amongst that poll itself. We have 50% of voters going for Marsha Blackburn, 42% for Bredesen, and then 8% undecided. In the Fox News poll, Bredesen gets 47%, Blackburn gets 48%, total of 9% undecided voters. This new poll shows 13% undecided voters. Okay, that's not a good sign whatsoever. Looking at that individual poll, sure, shows the Democrat ahead, but you can't take it when you're not taking all the other polls into account. This poll has too many undecided voters for it actually to have some real substance as to where these voters are actually voting on Election Day, because they should not be this undecided this close to the election. It just doesn't seem too right when every other poll is showing conflicting information in terms of voters who have made up their minds already. Going over to the New Jersey Senate race, though, right now, Bob Menendez leading by 9%. That is a pretty good number, but again, it's been pretty consistent, so not much to see there. California and New York Senate races, we can pretty much skip over both of them. Obviously, safe Democratic states. The state of Tennessee, the governor's race, right now, Lee plus 11. So that's another poll I wanted to look at. You just go over it. Lee leads by 17 in the Fox News poll, 26 in the New York Times poll, and now only by 11%. So this Vanderbilt University poll definitely benefits the Democratic Party more than the other polls, but it could just be one outlier. The state of New York, for the governor's race, Andrew Cuomo leads. No, sorry. Let's see. Not Andrew Cuomo. Oh, it is Andrew Cuomo. I remember last time I said Chris Cuomo, and that completely threw me off. But Cuomo leads by 23%. And the Kansas 3rd District, this is the area where I said that the House districts actually do help the Democratic Party. This is the 3rd District. It's held by a Republican. The Republican is Yoder right there. And now the Democrat Davids leads by 9%. That is a pretty good amount. Going over to the Colorado 6th District, right now the Democrat leads by 9%. These are both polls taken by the New York Times, so all of their information is updated in real time, and you can go check it out on the New York Times page where they actually show you exactly where they're calling, who answers where, and which areas are voting for which candidates. And then the Florida 15th District race right now is a tie. Actually, I think this poll may be the... Okay, so it's not the only one, but right now we're seeing very similar information from the New York Times and then the Survey USA poll, so I guess you could say that they're both pretty accurate. You look here, Romney plus 5.6 and Trump plus 10, so a pretty contested area. But keep in mind, Trump is positively approved in the state of Florida, so that may not help them. But then we can move over to Friday, October 19th. Right now in the main Senate race, King leads by 27%. That is not surprising whatsoever. In the governor's race, though, right now Janet Mills leads, I believe Sean Moody, if I'm not... Yeah, Sean Moody by 8%, whereas before it was a tie. So now it is lean Democratic and Mills plus 8. That is pretty good for the Democratic Party, considering that they weren't really expecting that many pickups in the governor races, especially with so many Democratic states with safe GOP incumbents. Like the state we're moving over to right now, the state of New Hampshire, governor's race there. Chris Sununu now leading by 11%. That's pretty good. I mean, he is a Republican in a Democratic state, but you would expect that lead to just go up leading into the election season. But I guess the race has narrowed down, but it's still a likely GOP race, so don't expect much for the Democratic Party there. Going over to all these House races, we have a number of House races. No Senate races were pulled on Friday, October 19th. But in the Michigan 11th District race, we are showing a tie between Stevens and Epstein. So right now I'm assuming, I'm just going to throw my money on the fact that Epstein is the Democrat. Actually, no, so I was wrong about that. It's just typically Stevens is more of that, I guess, generic name that you see with Republicans a lot. But looking at this district itself, it definitely shows numbers that aren't beneficial to the GOP. This is a district that went for Romney plus 5.4, Trump plus 4.4, and then this poll from the New York Times shows Stevens plus 7, and then 15 days later, we show a tie, but still, the only polls there are showing a tie and a Democrat leading in a Republican district. So, again, not the best news for the GOP there. Another poll from the state of Michigan right now, Bishop leads by 3% over Slotkin. This is an 8th district, so this is around Lansing area, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, looking at this race itself, it wasn't too contested back in 2016. So the only real contested races were Michigan 1st, Michigan 7th, but the polls have been pretty, I guess, general in who they believe is going to win. Romney won here by 3.1%, then Trump won here by 6.7%, but they all show Bishop leading. The New York Times poll I would trust the most out of all of them, which shows him leading by 3%, and then the Target Insight, I guess, poll shows Bishop leading by 3% before, whereas back in April, Bishop led by 6%. So not much has changed, just that the race has narrowed down in favor of the Democratic Party. So that covers all of our Michigan polls, all of our New Hampshire governor polls, and Maine Senate and governor polls. So actually, sorry, there was a Senate race polled, and that was the state of Maine, but I had already covered it. Going over to the Maine 2nd District, speaking of Maine, the 2nd District is a pretty contested district because, if you look at the numbers here, they are very fond of their incumbents, and Trump won here by 10.3%, even though Obama won here by 8.6%. That is a huge swing. A huge swing. I mean, this district was held by the GOP back in 2016. In fact, if we go to the 2nd District, it was won by Trump by 10.4%, but the average was 0.5%, so that was a huge swing in favor of Donald Trump. But when looking at these polls, they are very fond of their incumbents, but these new polls are showing ties between them. Tie from Pan Atlantic, tie from the New York Times, and then the polls taken back in September, Poliquin plus 5. So we're seeing a lot of not really conflicting information, just very, very close of a race compared to where it was before. So right now we're looking at a number of these House races. We can move over to the West Virginia 3rd District race, which shows Miller leading by 5%. So if we look at this race, this is a race that many Democrats want to watch because of the fact that this race is going to be, if this goes to the Democrats, it's a huge ball game. I mean, looking at this district itself, we're going to go ahead and see right now exactly how heavily it voted for Donald Trump in 2016. 49.2%. 49.2%. And there is a possibility that a Democrat wins here. If that's not insane, I don't know what is. The fact that there are polls that shows the Democrats leading by 6%, then a poll that shows the Republican leading by 8%, and then the Democrats by 5%, then the Republicans by 3%, and then by 5% again. A very contested district from a district that was safe for the GOP. Not just safe, but safe 3 times over. 49.2% in favor of Donald Trump back in 2016. That is huge. If this one flips to the Democratic Party, he's going to go all the way back to basics and focus on these individual races rather than just taking these states for granted. Because if this district is flipping, other districts are likely going to flip as well. Now, we can go over to the 2nd District race poll again from the New York Times, so that one was already a tie. But for some reason, this 2nd District poll in both of them have a number of undecided voters. A number of them. That is pretty crazy to me. We're looking at double digits in terms of undecided voters in both of these polls, and that's pretty surprising, but not unexpected in a contested race. But both of them show the same result, just with different amount of voters voting for different candidates. And we're looking at the Texas 23rd District race now. Right now, Hurd leads by 15%. That race will likely move into the likely GOP column. In the New Jersey 11th District, right now, the Democrat leads by 11%. Let's see where this race went in 2016. So Trump plus 0.9, and then Romney plus 5.8. So definitely drawing back away from Trump, and then all of a sudden now going in favor of the Democratic Party. So this was not contested back in 2016, nor 12, nor 2010 or 2008. So I'm assuming this is the first time this race has actually gotten super competitive in terms of the House race here, and now it's in favor of the Democratic Party by now double digits. And then the Pennsylvania 7th District, right now we show Wild leading by 7%. Look at the district itself. Trump lost here by 1.1%, but Obama won here by 7%. So still definitely narrowed down in favor of Donald Trump, but still lost the district itself. So when we're looking at it, it's going to be pretty important for the Democratic Party, considering states like Pennsylvania, California, New York are definitely going to be up there in terms of where they want to get their gains. And then for the President Trump job approval rating, disapprove +5, that's gone down in Rasmussen numbers. CBS News shows disapprove +11. Congressional job approval rating is always down, and the direction of the country is always in the wrong track. So that pretty much covers today's video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I will see you all tomorrow.